Hello everyone, I'm Darren Bainbridge, the founder and managing director of MyApiary. Before we start this presentation, I'd just like to thank the University of Montana for hosting this virtual conference. MyApiary is a suite of software productivity tools for commercial beekeepers to help them manage hives and their business as well. Our platform is made up of 3 components: MyApiary Manager, a hive and staff management tool with business reporting, MyApiary Identify, a traceability component using RFID tags or barcodes for asset control and traceability, MyApiary Extraction, a component for tracking and processing honey in the extraction shed. MyApiary was founded and established in Hamilton, New Zealand. Some say the agri-tech capital of the world, with other well-known agri-tech companies like the Gallagher Group headquartered here in Hamilton. Our primary market is Australasia, made up of Australia and New Zealand commercial beekeepers, generally of over 3,000 hives. Why New Zealand? We started New Zealand as this is one of the highest value markets per beekeeper or per capita in the world. New Zealand, while we only make up 1.3% of the global export market for honey, New Zealand commands 11.5% of the global export value, making New Zealand the second most valuable market after China. This value has been derived from Manuka honey, and this has had some interesting effects on the New Zealand market. Although New Zealand has all the major bee diseases and viruses, with the introduction of Varroa in the year 2000 and Nosema not too long after in the mid 2000s, in the last 10 years we've seen a tripling of hive numbers. So given financial incentive, beekeepers and bees can flourish, and now in New Zealand we've reached what I'd call peak bee, where yields now starting to tail off. 10 years ago the average yield would have been about 35 kilos per hive, and now we're seeing that drop to around 25, as although the hive numbers have tripled in New Zealand, the floral resource has not increased. So this is now leading to another development where Manuka plantations are now being planted. So where does MyApiary sit in the apiculture support landscape? MyApiary actually started about 7 years ago in the IoT sensor space, when there was only really HiveMine and Avianna in this market. But after about 3 years of market research, we realized that beekeepers, to really make use of the data, needed a business management platform first. So we pivoted over to the software support space for commercial beekeepers, the area I term the Save the Beekeepers space, where on the left I call it the Save the Bee space. So in the commercial productivity tool space, in the Australasian market we are the market leader alongside hive keepers in the hobbyist space, with HiveTrax kind of in the middle, with 2 different products targeted at the commercial and hobbyist space. So let's go and have a look at their actual product. Today, given the time constraints, we're just going to look at MyApiary Manager. The system is made up of a web interface, which we're looking at now, and a tablet field application on Android and Apple. The web interface is for reporting and administration, with a site and landowner content management system, keeping all your information in one place. Right, looking at the tablet application, our app is designed primarily for data entry in the field and allows you to have all business information at your fingertips offline. So the tablet runs a database. So here we're looking at the dashboard, and we can see we've got 2 jobs scheduled for the week, and we can see that those jobs link to run groups on the map. I can click on a job and the map will change. It's all contextual, and in that job it tells me how many sites. So we've got 7 apiaries to visit, and there's 288 hives. We can see our list of tasks and our list of sites. But we can also go and view all of the sites, and here we can see again the taskbar at the top's changed. You can see in this demo account there's 34 apiaries and 1,500 hives, of which 609 are strong, and we have 142 nukes. And going down through the menu system, we'll go look at, we have a full scheduler. So you, as a beekeeping team, they can see the work that's been scheduled for the month, and you can slide it backwards and forwards at your leisure. So let's schedule another job for, let's say, Wednesday. We select our job template, and these templates are fully customizable. So I'm going to select winter feed for the site group prong yourself. You can see it automatically selects all the yards in that group, and I can select save. So I just scheduled another job. The next menu down is our sites list. So this is kind of like a digital whiteboard. We can see all of our run groups and the current summary. And this list is filterable. You can filter it alphabetically by recently visited or most neglected. Most beekeepers leave it on most neglected, putting the run with the oldest visit dates at the top. So if we click on a run group, I'm going to click on Tiaraha. It will then open that run group, and we can see a summary of all the apiaries. I can see the number of hives and their makeup, if there's supers currently on the yard, whether there's variety treatment in, and the last job comment. There we go, we've got one down the bottom. I'm going to click on Tiaraha West 1, looking at a site dashboard. Across the top, we can see a summary of the current site status. So we can see in this yard we have 44 hives, of which 25 are strong and 12 are rated medium. And we can see that most of those 25 are all doubles, and we've got 14 single hives and 5 nukes. Across the top, we can also go look at the site information. So here we've got some notes regarding to the site. So close the gate, make sure it's locked. We've got multifloral bush site, and we've also got the address information and contact information. All this is available offline on the tablet. If we go back to the Apiary Management tab, we're going to do this job card at the top with the date 30th of June. But we can also see the last 5 jobs done on this site. Clicking on the job card, we open it up. The idea with our platform is you're not carrying it around and entering data at every single hive. Capturing the main business inputs. So the idea is the tablet stays in the vehicle, and when you finish working the yard, you fill in the job card. So you fill in the time on site. I'm going to put an hour and a half, and tick off what tasks that you've done. So I'm going to tick it off. If you want to do additional tasks, we've checked our varroa thresholds and the sugar stores. Say the varroa thresholds are high, we can then add tasks. So I'm going to add the tasks feed sugar, feed protein, and varroa treatment in. So we select the task we want to add to the job card, and then you can see all of these tasks have a consumable linked to them. And these are all templated, all in our setup. So I'm going to put in a feed bee patty. Let's say we use 10 of those today. And we feed sugar. I can select from, again, a customizable list of sugar. So I'm going to go sugar plus accuracy, which is a seaweed supplement. Let's say we used 150 litres. And put a varroa treatment in. So I'm going to go Beverol at 120 strips. For demonstration purposes, I'm also going to split a couple of hives today. So we're going to select the task hive split so we can see how the numbers change. I'm going to go hive split and put in that we're going to split 10 hives. And then we click next. So the other part of our data entry is observations. So here we have some questions. And if you've seen disease, for example, you'd answer yes and then put in what you're seeing. So maybe you're seeing some chalk brood, and you put in the number of hives that you saw that in, and you can keep adding reasons as need be. Let's also put that we saw a deformed wing virus in 10 hives. If you're doing your varroa thresholds, we've got a list of templated varroa checks. I'm going to go aquahosh at 200 bees and just put in some samples. And based on your threshold checking, you decide whether you want to treat, which we've already said we've put the treatment in. We didn't requeen, so I'm going to untick that. And here, the last one is asking, is the floral source in flower? I'm going to say no. And we click next. Now we're looking at the Apiary status report, and you can see that we had 44 hives on this yard, but now we have 54 because we split the hives. So it's asking us to input what's the current makeup of the hive. So we could have made 10 nukes, or maybe we split the 10 doubles. I'm going to say we split the 10 doubles. So we're going to bring the double count down by 10 to 15, and we're now going to increase the singles by 20 as we split the doubles into 2, doubling the number. When the number's balanced, the red boxes go away again, and now we need to do the same at the bottom. When the number's all balanced, we can then hit complete. Now we've completed our first job. If we look at the site status bar, we can now see that the hive count has increased by 10, and we've put in the new variety on the 30th of June, now due out on the 25th of August. We can go down one more level and we can look at depots. So depots was developed for our asset inventory system. We can also use depots to record jobs and notes as you're doing shed work. So if we going back to the web application, if we look at reporting, here we're looking at our reporting dashboard. This is our graphical dashboard summarizing a few of the reports. So in our first graph, you can see here that we're taking the colony strength data over the season. You can see how the hive numbers and strength changes throughout the year. So you can see in this account, as we're coming out of winter, going into August for those first inspections, that a lot of the hives are now rating as medium strength, and you can see an increase in the number of weak hives, where the goal is to get as many colonies into the green or strong for the summer honey flow. And we can see with their lineup of the first inspection in August, you can see high colony deaths reported as the hives that have been lost over winter. And we can see here that the primary cause that's been reported is failing queen and rob out. Looking at disease observations, so again you can kind of see this general trend where most of the observations have been done in the spring and in the autumn, with not a lot being done while the honey flows on or the supers are on the hives. And again, if we go look in the different reasons, we can see that this business mainly has the chalk brood and sac brood under control, but you can see the biggest reported observation is varroa and that deformed wing virus vectoring in there. And again, in this operation, it looks like there's a strong requeening program in the spring, mainly requeening for old age. So this is a really good example of making sure you've got fresh, strong queens for the season. And then the last graph is a number of jobs that have been completed in the season. You can see it kind of peaks as all the hives have been moved into crop and supering up, and then that lull over the summer holiday period, but also while the hives are on crop, and then the peak again as hives have been harvested and moved back to their wintering sites. Another big report we focus on is site costs. So behind the scenes, with every job card, MyApiary is recording the consumable costs and the labour costs to give us an indicative site management cost. So we can filter this by cost. So here we've got our list of sites, and we can see the number of visits, total number of hours on site, the travel time if it's been recorded, but then we've got our consumable and labour costs to give us a total management cost. The cool thing about these reports is we can also drill down at a site or load level. So we'll go down one more level and we can see the total cost of maintaining a yard or a site. So we've got all of the consumables that have gone into that site, giving us a $1,400 consumable cost and also a total labour cost. And we can see what jobs were done throughout the year, the time that was spent there, and the consumables and labour costs for each job. That brings us to the end of our allotted time. So where to next? We're currently in talks with a few of the sensor providers, Apis Protect, Bee Hero and Nectar, to look at using hive data and machine learning to determine where the beekeeper should visit next based on need, further improving productivity. If you're interested in our platform, you can visit us on the web at myapiary.com. Just keep in mind that our pricing is in New Zealand and Australian dollars. Thank you.